Hello everyone, let's do a field trip together. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. As you've probably already seen in my previous video, my husband and I are on vacation in the UK and we're doing a little road trip through the places that we haven't seen and explored yet. We've started out in London and then went up the eastern coast, driving through Cambridge, Norwich, and have yesterday arrived at the North Yorkshire Moors. So today will be our first day out hiking, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to choose a beautiful spot at some point of our hike and do a little plein air painting. At least I hope that we can find a spot that is suitable, that the weather is going to play along well. It looks good for the moment. It's a bit cloudy but sunny throughout, and I think there's no rain announced for the moment. I know that there are many plein air painters who don't have a problem with painting in the rain, but I simply don't have the equipment for the moment, so I would not want to risk that. So we have a 42-minute drive up to where our first hike starts, and yeah, I guess I will see you up there when we arrive. So I've now arrived at Rievaulx Abbey. I've just paid the parking and the ticket in order to be able to access the Abbey grounds. I believe there was another parking that was where you didn't have to pay for the ticket, but you could not go around the Abbey. And I was, of course, not only interested in seeing everything and going into the museum, but also in walking around it in order to choose for the best spot in order to set up my easel. As you might see behind me, I'm not sure, I have taken a backpack in order to take the brushes and paints and mediums with me, as well as a new easel that is quite compact and easy to carry around. It's not heavy at all. Once I find the spot where I will be good to paint, I will show you the setup. And now come with me and I'll show you the very beautiful surroundings. Look, there are sheep grazing. And this is where we're going. Okay, so there are some tables that allow people to picnic or take their afternoon morning tea. This would be actually not bad to be able to pick a spot where I'm still in the shadows, but the Abbey is in plain sunlight. Beautiful. Wow, look at that. And the weather is just what the doctor ordered. It's perfect for painting outside. Okay guys, so small update on the situation. I've done the walk around the Abbey, and the problem is I'm way too close by, so trying to find a composition for an oil painting when you're this close to the Abbey, well, you might as well try to take a photograph. It's not going to be possible. At some point I considered standing like in front of the altar and just the interior of the abbey be my scene. Upon reflection, I don't think it's the best idea ever, because you only going to have the architectural details and like none of the landscape. And while it might have been something interesting to experiment with if you have maybe 5 or 6 hours before you, and you're aiming for doing every detail right and really, you know, going into the details of the stones and stuff like that, it would have worked. Unfortunately, we arrived at like 3:30 at the abbey, so an hour and a half before the closure. Yeah, so I really hoped to, you know, find the spot right away, set up the easel and get cracking, because in an hour and a half you can have a decent start into the painting, but not like in an hour when you still have to set up the easel and everything else. I'm a bit pissed, to be honest, because I just paid £17 in order to be able to do the walk around, whereas I could have stayed at the free car park and I would have had a better composition. I mean, let's face it, I'm not going to be able to paint anything, well, not the abbey today at any rate. I'm like this close to painting the building for the powder room, because there's nothing else at the car park. Also, my husband has gone out to do the hike that he found in his application for the hikes, because the general idea was I'm going to set up my easel here and paint, and he's going to do his hike in the meantime and take the photos. There is absolutely no cell reception, and I'm not sure whether he's aware that the car park is also going to close at 5. So he absolutely needs to be back by 5 to move the car. So I'm not quite at grasps to what to do. Other than that, really beautiful place, really beautiful abbey, but I mean, I only have taken the camera that would allow me to film my painting time-lapse, so I don't have a decent lens in order to take any photographs of the abbey. So I'm here, I'm stuck for another hour, I can't paint, and I don't even have pictures of the place. Yeah. You know what? I think this video just turned into one of those Thomas Heaton videos where he's like, how I failed everything that I wanted to do on this trip, but how I still got fun doing it. I don't know. This is going to be one of those videos, I can tell you now. Also, to be clear, I'm not criticizing Thomas Heaton in any way. I love his videos. It's just every time when he goes on his photography trip and he's like, oh well, this didn't work out exactly how I wanted to, and I didn't get any shots, and then he shows the shots and they're really great actually, and you're like, why is he all hot and bothered? I don't get it, and now I get it. Because when you set your mind to something and you really wanted it to work, and then it simply doesn't happen for a reason or another, you are hot and bothered, and rightly so. This doesn't really make for a painting. I mean, I could, but this is the gentleman's room. I could paint the holiday cottage, but how crazy would that be? Like being at the abbey and painting the holiday house. I mean, why not? But this was not the point. Also, I can't flipping get away from here because I have no cell reception, and I have to wait for my husband. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to meet up because he won't have a clue where I am. And I mean, these are lovely surroundings. I'm sure there must be somewhere where I can set up the easel and still get away with something, but I can't think of what without walking away from the car park. That's That's my problem. Also, there's obviously a road there, so walking anywhere else would imply schlepping my dog here along the road with the cars and the easel, and I'm not sure that would be a very wise thing to do. I mean, honestly, now that the truck is gone, that was just parked in front of it, this is kind of a really lovely view. And no one would know these are toilets, right? Well, except for I just told you a lot. So this won't work anymore. I chat too much in my videos. That's how you know, is when you're about to paint some toilets. That's when you know that you've told too much. I've still like 15 minutes to go before the car park closes. So still crossing my fingers that my husband comes back in time and that we can leave. And I'm halfway considering going back to the other car park and starting my painting there. But there is the issue of pubs not serving food after, like 7 or 8. So if I started painting at 5, will we be able to eat in the evening? I'm not sure. Will we still be married if I sabotage dinner tonight? I'm not sure either. You know what? I actually blame the dog a little bit as well, because he was doing really well today. Let me show you the culprit. I mean, he was doing so great today. We've gone on a big walk in another part of the North Yorkshire Moors, and notwithstanding his arthritis, he got on so well and he walked so well. And when my husband went one way to do his hike and I went another one to the Abbey with the dog, it just bugged him, I think. So he just stopped in his tracks, and there was no way really to make him move at the pace that was requested in order for me to be able to do the walk around the Abbey and still have time to paint and find a composition and maybe realize there wasn't one and go back to the other car park. Well, anyway, I think I've told you everything you need to know about the situation, and I have to shut up, put out the camera and just wait for my husband to come back, and then we'll discuss our options for the evening. Hello everyone, another day, another Abbey. This time I hope I will be able to find a composition a bit quicker, that Jason is going to play along, and also we've arrived quite a bit earlier than yesterday, so I think this should not be an issue this time. Today I'm going to try to paint Whitby Abbey, which is a beautiful abbey in the North Yorkshire Moors, and if I remember correctly, it inspired Stoker's Dracula, so quite a macabre setting, or gothic, whichever way you prefer to see this. We're about to arrive, so I show you a bit of the road as well as what it looks like before setting up my easel. See you there. Actually, you know what? I'm not even sorry it didn't work out with Rievaulx Abbey, because this one is just spectacular. I mean, look at this. I can totally see how this is a setting for an all-time bestseller. Wow. And also, look, there's the sea. This is just the perfect scene. Actually, you know what? I'm sure I'm not going to have any troubles with finding the right composition to set up my easel, because, you know, there it is, literally just staring you in the face. Something like that, where I will be able to still see the sea and the front of the cathedral, abbey I mean. And after the plein air, I think this might be an interesting stop to taste the local beer. There you have it, the sea. Most beautiful coastline as well, actually. Well, I guess we have our setting with a bit of the sea, the abbey, and a bit of a pond with the beautiful wildflowers just before it. Will I opt for a landscape or a portrait format? I haven't decided yet. I guess I will take a decision while I set up my easel. With the abbeys. I don't know if it's just bad luck or if it's always the case here, but the wind was just insufferable, really. I don't know whether I will check it out in editing or whether I decide to leave it in order to illustrate what I'm saying here, but honestly, I've been here for like an hour and I had maybe 10 minutes worth of real painting time. I think probably not even 10 minutes, because the rest of the time I was just holding on to the easel and to my color palette. As I've already mentioned in one of my previous videos, I always travel with a carton paper palette, so there are loose sheets that are glued together at the beginning, but actually when you use it you tear it up leaf by leaf and they come off, so the whole of the glue loosens up and so it comes off. So with the wind it came off all the time, so I had paint literally flip over my hand. I had paint everywhere except on the canvas. Also, in order to have the view of the abbey, I was facing the wind, so this is good, except the fact that I have a cardboard canvas, so the wind blew from behind it and constantly blew the cardboard into my face. So basically imagine a sail. This would be the exact same principle. So if my goal here was to, make my easel move over the sea, I would have put it probably this way in that direction. I would have sailed over to the Americas by now, I think. Yeah, so have I had other equipment? This probably would not have been an issue with a real hardwood palette with a real hardwood easel, I just would not have done the hikes. I would not have brought it with me. I just wouldn't be able to do any of this, not even try it out. So I know that's not really an option for me. We're traveling with the dog. We have all our camera equipment with us as well, so I have to be lightweight. So if you are in a similar case to mine, just know this, keep it in mind. You won't be able to paint in any conditions you like. You have to make do with what you get. You have to live with the wind and the weather, and you are probably going to be very, 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 very much more dependent on the weather than someone who has a real chart or a real, hardwood easel that uses for plein air. This is just the way it's going to be. So there are days like this one, for instance, where you're just not going to be able to get a decent painting done. And I know I probably sound pissed, and that's because I am. Because other than that, it is just amazing. I will turn the camera around to show you. I mean, honestly, it doesn't get much better than that. Actually, it does. Like 30 minutes ago, there were these rain clouds, a bit like these ones, hovering over the abbey, and it gave it the most gloriously gothic look, even more than it has now. There were reflections in the pond. The pond was purple, nearly. So yeah, this would have been so nice, but it's not going to happen. So this is another abbey failure for me. Let's not make this a rule, shall we? Honestly, just this close to just pushing my easel over the top into the lake and let it drown. But we're not going to do that because we're all reasonable here, and I'm going to need my easel for a less stormy day. Anyway, this is what it is. I'm going to show you what I've managed to do this far, and what it could have been, comment on what it could have been, and I think then I'm going to join my husband, who is probably already at the pub I've shown you on the way over. Okay, this is what we're at. Let's see if I get closer up. You know, what really bugs me is that this scene has so much potential. The colours had so much potential. Everything. It could have been such a perfectly moody scene, and I was spending most of my time trying to get hold of the easel. So I will see what I can salvage once the colours will have dried down, and I'm trying to take a decent photo maybe. I will try to take a decent photo of the abbey and maybe try to, detail it out at home. Yeah, so I don't know. We will see. We'll see. Painting in nature can of course have its fair share of unpredictability. But to end this video on a more positive note, please let me tell you that I will definitely detail this painting that I've started in plein air out at home, and will definitely show you the results and or maybe share the process. Thank you so much for watching me, and I hope to see you in my next video where we will have a more successful plein air session. Cheers! If you want to see more of my works available for purchase, please consider checking out my website. I leave the link in the description. If you have an idea for a painting or lino print that you would want me to create especially for you, please don't hesitate to reach out through the contact form of my website.